Welcome back to On the Clock and Over It, the podcast where we expose the worst bosses and workplace horror stories so you can feel a little less alone in your daily struggle.
And today we're diving into a boss type that somehow thinks your job description includes personal assistant, problem solver, and human sponge for everyone else's work.
The boss who takes their responsibilities, or anyone else's for that matter, and just casually hands them off to you like it's a gift.
More like a punishment.
Facts. And if you've ever found yourself doing three people's jobs while your boss somehow still finds time for long lunches and midday yoga or, Botox, this episode is for you.
Today's story comes from an anonymous listener called Drowning in Tasks, who learned the hard way that just because you can handle a lot doesn't mean you should have to.
Let's get into it. So I had a manager who at first seemed pretty chill. He was always talking about work-life balance and avoiding burnout, and I thought, okay, cool. Finally, a boss who gets it. Yeah, I was wrong. A few months in, I noticed a pattern. Every time he didn't feel like doing something, it somehow became my responsibility. At first, it was small things, scheduling a meeting, drafting a report here and there, no big deal. But then he started assigning me work that was way above my pay grade, and when I pushed back, he hit me with, well, I trust you to handle it. Trust me, sir, this is not an honor. This is a trap. Ooh, the I trust you move. Classic manipulation in disguise.
Right? It's like when your mom says, I trust you to make the right decision, but really she means I dare you to mess this up.
Exactly. Now let's continue. At one point, he asked me to put together a full year budget analysis, something I had zero experience with. When I mentioned that I had no background in finance, he literally said, that's the best way to learn. The best way to learn? No. The best way to set me up to fail is what you mean. But the final straw? He went on vacation for 2 weeks without telling me he had listed me as the main point of contact for all of his projects. I only found out because our director emailed me asking for an update. When he got back, I confronted him. I said, I can't keep taking on your work. And his response, well, if you didn't want to do it, you should have said something sooner. Like what? Oh, the gaslight and blame shift combo. Classic workload dumper behavior.
Right? He never said, hey, are you okay with this? He just handed it off and dipped.
And let's not forget the biggest red flag here. He positioned it as an opportunity when really it was a dump and run.
Exactly. And let's be real. Sometimes being trusted just means being taken advantage of.
All right, let's break this down. Why do some bosses treat their employees like free labor upgrades? Reason number one, they're just plain lazy. Some managers just don't want to do their job. Simple as that.
Yep. They figured out that if they delegate everything, they can just sit back and supervise.
Reason number two, they know you'll get it done. If you're competent, reliable, and never say no, you become their go-to dumping ground.
Which honestly feels like a punishment for being good at your job.
That's because it is. And reason number three is they're covering their own incompetence. Some bosses literally don't know how to do their own work, so they pass it off and hope no one notices.
And if you mess up, you take the blame. If you do it well, they take the credit.
Okay, so if you're dealing with a workload dumper, let's talk strategy, because you are not their personal assistant. Step number one, clarify your responsibilities. If something is not in your job description, ask directly. Is this a temporary assignment or is this now part of my role?
A lot of times, just putting them on the spot makes them rethink dumping extra work on you.
Or it could make it awkward for everyone. Either way.
Yeah.
Step number two, use the magic phrase, what should I deprioritize? If they pile work on, make them choose what gets dropped.
Oh, that one is gold. They'll either have to admit that they're overloading you or suddenly realize they need to take some stuff back.
And step number three, loop in leadership. If your boss keeps dodging work, sometimes it's time to let their boss know what's happening.
I mean, they chose the slacker life. Now they gotta live with it.
At the end of the day, just because you're capable doesn't mean you should have to do everything. Workload dumpers will keep dumping until you set the boundary.
And if you're dealing with one of those bosses right now, tell us your story. Submit your workplace horror stories at the link in the show notes, and we might feature them in our future episodes. And don't forget, subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a coworker who always ends up doing just one more thing.
AKA that people pleaser that we all know. Until next time, stay clocked in.
But not too checked out.